Right, it were Father's Day last week, and as usual, I had no idea. I don't celebrate anything. Birthdays, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, Easter, Christmas. I don't know any of that bullshit. You're like, so you're a fucking barbarian, your kids miss out. Well, before these fucking politicians that don't know their arse from their elbow locked us all down for no fucking reason whatsoever, we used to be getting away twice a year. Sometimes 3 times a year. And that were the presents. We would go fucking places and do shit. The kids have already racked up 17 countries. And that's with 4 years off. I've not been out of this country. My family have not been out of this country since January 2020 when we were in Malaysia. And it is now June 2023. So 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 4 years, 3 and a bit years. So that's what I have as my Christmas presents and birthday presents. We just go away and fuck off on holiday. Now, last Sunday, my wife sent me this photograph, and it was a collection of 12 photographs in a collage. And it was just me and 2 kids. She wanted any of the photos, and I found it quite strange. So I messaged her back and said, what is this? This makes me look like a single dad. Are you trying to... Do you want to divorce me? Are you after softening the blow before you serve me divorce papers when I get home? And she's like, no, you dumb fuck, it's Father's Day. Like I said, no idea. Now the thing, what happened with me and my dad is once my mother started getting dementia, you know, there are some positives that come out of it, because my mum didn't know what the fuck were going on, so we just didn't bother with any cards or any presents anymore. We just didn't bother with it. Now, when we decided on that, the first thing out of the gate was my dad's birthday, and I felt guilty about it, so I sent him this digital photo frame. So I downloaded the app on my phone. He's got the app downloaded on the frame, so if I take a picture at kids, I can send it to him, and he's got it there on his dining room table that he can look at the kids. Something nice. But then he's never got the fucking frame switched on. I'm never really taking pictures at kids and remember to sending them. So it was just a waste of fucking money. And after that, it was just right. Let's not do that ever again. So we've not sent anything since. And I mean, I've not seen my dad in the flesh for 4 years now. I'll be going and seeing him in summer. But that's the first time I've seen him in 4 years. So I suppose we'll have his celebrations then. But as for cards and presents, fuck that bullshit. We don't do any of that, which is fantastic. And my wife's got in on it, the kids are in on it. Fucking Father Christmas, they know that's all bullshit. And they don't celebrate Christmas here, so you don't really need to do it. But this thing about Father's Day and Father's Day presents, I do not need my kids to send me a card or send me a present to say Happy Father's Day. I'm a father 365 days of the year, not just one day where your kids are not being themselves and being nice to you. I don't want my kids to be nice to me. It makes them look fucking weird. So they just don't bother. I have to celebrate my birthday though. We do go out for a meal on my birthday because it's my daughter's birthday. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing out for that. Anyway, the worst Father's Day present I think anybody could receive. It were a present given from a father to his son, and it were given last week, somewhere off coast of Canada. So there were these 3 billionaires, and this kid, this 19-year-old kid, and his dad wanted to go and dive down to see Titanic on this little submarine, and he wanted to take his son with him. Now his son had some reservations about this, and he was saying to his mother, "Mum, I don't want to go, I'm shitting myself, I do not want to go." And the wife was speaking to father, and father said, "He'll be right, he's with me, it's going to be alright, he's with me." So the kid, still shitting himself, decided to go with his dad. So they were joined on this trip by a couple of other billionaires. I think they were all Brits, but I'm not sure. I know one of them were the father and son were Pakistani descent. I think the kid were born and had grown up in UK, but yeah, fucking minted. They were all minted. These tickets per person were £250,000 each. I mean, for fuck's sake, you're a billionaire. I know £250,000 is pocket change for most folk, for these billionaires, but you really want to sit in a submarine and dive down and see a fucking mass of rust that's nearly 4 kilometres below surface. Now you're down there, it takes a couple of hours to get down there, a couple of hours to get back, and then you've got 4 hours at the Titanic. You're 4 hours there. Now there's 4 paying customers on submarine, and there is a porthole at the front of the submarine that's about the size of a football. So you're really comfortably only getting one head there. So if there's 4 of you down there for 4 hours, you're getting about an hour each. That's it. So for your £250,000, you're getting an hour looking at the Titanic. Fuck's sake. I mean, where I'm from, you could buy 5 shitty houses for that money, do them up, rent them out. You could get 3 pretty good houses and 1 definite fucking mansion. But you could have bought that and rented it out and made bank every fucking month. But he wanted to take his son on a Father's Day trip down to Titanic. What a mistake that was. Anyway, I've been looking online at this submarine, and it just looks like something that a hobbyist would build. You know, my granddad used to have a shed in his backyard, and he used to make stuff in the backyard, like a photography studio, and he'd come up with stuff, and it looks like something he would have come up with. I mean, the fixtures and fittings were from like a DIY store, so I don't know what he thought were going to happen. The controller for it was like a Nintendo controller, but it wasn't a Nintendo controller, it was some cheap Chinese knockoff, which fucking Amazon have had to disable the comments on that actual model because people are just leaving some questionable comments about it and giving it a 1-star rating. Anyway, looking into the history of this thing, they had health and safety fellas come in and look at it and said, you need to stop doing this right now. It's only safe at a push at 1,800 metres. You don't want to be going any lower than that. Well, they need to go more than double that to get down to shipwreck, to get down to Titanic. They needed to go down another 2,000 metres. So instead of sorting it out, they just fired the health and safety fellas and carried on regardless. So this, I forget which day it was, but it was last week. So this was the first day of the year that they were able to get down there because of the weather conditions. So they've obviously lost a bit of money this year, and I think corners were cut, but they just got them in and they got them down there. Anyway, the Pakistani fella had got his business partner and said, look, get in on this and come with us. So his business partner, having his wits about him, he looked in to the company and he looked at the submarine and he said, I'm having fucking none of that. I mean, he'd paid his down payment, he'd paid his deposit, and then after he looked online and he'd read reviews, he went, fuck that, I'm out. I am fucking out. Now, rather than the company address his issues, they came back to him and said, right, well, we'll let you go for 180,000 instead of 250. So they dropped him 70 grand on a whim because they didn't want to be losing out on any money. And this fellow went, nah, you can fuck off. There's no way I'm going. So he didn't bother. So they got somebody else in. Anyway, off they go. Now I woke up Monday, Tuesday morning. This motorbike get fast. Might not be able to hear me. So I woke up Monday or Tuesday morning and the news of this submarine going missing were all over the place. And they'd got 70 hours of air left, and you're thinking, fucking hell, that's rough. And they've got to search, they've got to get the Coast Guards out to search for them. He's got a Lamborghini and he's Japanese. How small must his penis be? So they're searching the seabed, they can't find him. You're waking up the next day, they said, oh, he's got 40 hours left. And then it got down to about 11 hours. And I think just as the air on the submarine would have run out, the recordings from the American and Canadian Coast Guard came out, and they reckoned there were an implosion about an hour and a half into dive. So the whole thing imploded on itself and just killed them all instantly. Now, neither option is a good way to go. Either the submarine implodes on you, or you just rest on the seabed in the dark, just slowly sucking in that air for 70 hours until you pass out and die. There's no good way of going there, but if you've got the rock and the hard place, you choose the option that they went through, I think. I know I would. Definitely I would. Anyway, they've found the wreckage, and I think they're trying to recover that wreckage now and bring it all to the surface. Sounds like a festival's going on here somewhere. Now, the thing about this story is you've got 4 billionaires doing stupid shit. 4 billionaires have paid a lot of money and they've been caught out doing that shit. And they've died. And it has been front page news all week. Let's just go over here and see what's going on over here. Nice taiko drummers. So since I've come through them tunnels, I've come from Kamakura into Kotzebue, and I think if they're practicing on them drums now, the Kotzebue festival is going to be happening soon. A lot of Ferraris and Lamborghinis around here today. There must be a small penis convention somewhere. Yeah, so like I was saying before, you can't keep this news story off the front pages in the print and digital media, and it's all over telly in Japan as well. It's a big story, and there's no Japanese people involved in it. So what I'm comparing it to is, are these people rich arseholes that just got caught out spending, fucking wasting the money doing stupid shit? I mean, you've got to feel sorry for them, especially that 19-year-old. But the other three, you know, you could have spent that stuff, that money would have been better spent elsewhere, at least now, definitely. Now, on the 14th of June, a worse thing happened at a boat, and they say, they don't fucking know, a boat carrying between 500 and 750 migrants left Libya with Libyans, just migrants from the sub-Sahara and along that north coast, just trying to get into Europe. I mean, there were Pakistanis on that submarine, and there were Pakistanis on this, there are a lot of Pakistanis on this fishing boat as well, just trying to get out of the country because their economy has gone to shit. I mean, Imran Khan is walking round the fucking Parliament building in India in a steel barrel with security surrounding him because he's feared he's going to get assassinated. That's how much that's how to shit that country's gone. So there's a lot of people fleeing from Pakistan trying to get into Europe. Anyway, this boat, the Greek Coast Guard were tracking it, and it just stood still for 8 hours in international waters. And when a boat is just staying there out at sea, you know, it's either got engine trouble or it's sinking, but they just left it and it sank. Now they recovered, I think, 84. They've pulled 104 from sea, but they've no idea how many of these bodies have gone missing. And I'm sure they're going to start washing up on various beaches all around the Greek islands and on the Greek mainland very soon. But nobody knows how many of them have gone into water. They've just got to play the waiting game now. Now, that story, fucking much more horrific than the billionaire submarine story. I mean, 5 people are lost in terrible circumstances, but here you're talking at least 500 have been affected by this. That's 500 families have been affected by it. And you cannot find a story without really digging for it. Nobody's writing about it anymore. The stories I found this morning, I think the newest one were 4 days old. Yet still, we're going on about this fucking submarine where people with more money than they're ever going to spend have died. And it's just front page every day of the week. And these migrants that trying to get into Greece on that boat, nothing. So it just goes to prove nobody gives a fuck about the poor. Nobody gives a flying fuck about the poor. So I think it's time for us not to give a fuck about the rich. Fuck them all. Now, it wasn't the most upbeat of episodes today. I mean, they all can't be. But I just found it fascinating that we give a shit about billionaires losing their life in a submarine, and we don't really give a fuck about 500 and odd migrants dying off the coast of Greece trying to make a better life for themselves. And I understand. I left my country because it's shite to come and live here, so I understand kind of what they're going through, but I've got the fucking good passport and they haven't. I can more or less work anywhere in the world and they can fucking work nowhere, only in these shit countries where they can't make anything of their life. So you're going to try to get into somewhere illegal. I can go anywhere, and what travelling has taught me is, as much as I hate my fucking country, I am fucking damn lucky to come from there, because it gives me the option of just fucking off and working somewhere else. Whereas these people from Pakistan, Libya, they've got no prospects. So they've just got to gun it across the med with their fingers crossed. Sometimes with the kids in their arms, no life jackets, in boats that you wouldn't send fucking dogs out in. And we don't give a fuck. We don't write about it anymore. And that's that, and that's that. So that is the end of episode 105. Again, these downloads on Spotify, I cannot understand why you enjoy it so much. Just a fucking 52-year-old ranting. I mean, I do like these riding a bike around and doing the podcast on the bike, because it gets me out of the house, and the weather's, rainy season's hopefully drawing to an end, and the better weather's coming out, and when the better weather comes out, it's a much nicer place once we get shut of rainy season. So I'm probably going to keep doing more of these on bike, because that studio of mine's a bit claustrophobic. So that's that, and that's this. Please keep downloading. Tell your friends. The Patreon is just getting subs every week. People are subscribing to my channel. And try and blow that YouTube up for us, please. That would be very nice. And I'll see you next week.